Hello and welcome to the quarterfinals of the Legacy Championships. Eternal Weekend is off to a spectacular start. We've got 8 players left competing for the Legacy Prize. They want that alternate art wasteland painting, and they want the glory that comes with winning the Legacy Championships. This has been a big tournament, fully 364 players, but there's only 8 of them left. 2 of them, Greg Price and Mark Taco. So Taco gets to play first. He is playing an Ad Nauseam Tendrils deck, so very happy to be playing first. Playing first based on his records from the Swiss. He kind of earned it. He had an extra couple of points versus Price. So Ad Nauseam Tendrils, he's going to play a bunch of rituals. He's going to make a bunch of mana. He's got some Infernal Tutors that get really good with Lion's Eye Diamond, and all setting up Tendrils of Agony kill. So that's his plan. He tries to knock any threats out of his opponent's hand with Cabal Therapy and Duress. Got Gitaxian Probe to set that up. And here's Duress.
Yeah, this is really what he wants to do. He's got to hit any Trinispheres or Chalice of the Voids his opponent might have in his hand.
Yeah, Greg
and
Price.
It looks like Greg took a mulligan, too.
Yeah, 6 cards there. So what are they? Blightsteel Colossus, Metalworker, Wasteland, City of Traders, and a pair of Vesuvas.
Yeah, these cards are not probably not good enough to stop Mark.
No, that is not the greatest hand in the world. So the Mud deck, its plan is to just make the opponent's life as annoying as you possibly can. Chalice of the Void, Trinisphere, Lodestone Golem. Your stuff is more expensive. It costs 3 +1/+1. It just tries to make the opponent's life miserable, which can potentially work against Ad Nauseam Tendrils, but you got to get going. And this is a staple in Vintage. It's been a staple in Vintage for years and years and years. Not seen a lot in Legacy.
Wow.
But here we are. So he wastelanded, and you know what?
He has no lands, but he has a Lotus Petal and a Brainstorm. He also,
and a Dark Ritual.
Yeah, and a Dark Ritual and a Lion's Eye Diamond. I mean,
crazy.
He's like a land away from really being in action here.
Does he have an Infernal Tutor?
He has the Ad Nauseam already, so he can Brainstorm it back.
Yeah, but he can't quite.
No, he's like a land away from being in business.
Yeah, well, I don't think Greg Price expected Wasteland to be good enough all by itself, but you know what? Kind of was there. Now City of Traders and Grim Monolith into Metalworker, so he's going to have a bunch of... Well, how many artifacts does he have in his hand? Does he have any?
Not many, if any.
Well, he's got the Blightsteel.
Blightsteel, I think that's it.
And the rest, I think...
Oh, another Dark Ritual.
He can Ritual Ad Nauseam. Right?
Yeah.
Off the Lotus Petal.
Yes.
Who needs land?
And he's got the LED.
He just goes for it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, just the single Wasteland should not be enough here to stop Taco with the double Ritual and the Lotus Petal.
Yeah, all right. There's Lotus Petal. That's 1 spell. Sack Lotus Petal for black. Dark Ritual. 2 spells. 3 black mana. 1 of those black. Into another Dark Ritual. So 5 black mana. 3 spells. Play Lion's Eye, that's 4 spells. Doesn't take that long to get to 10 with this deck.
Sometimes it's just this easy.
Alright, so now Ad Nauseam, right?
Yeah.
And then sack Lion's Eye immediately? I mean, before he's... I mean, he can either sack Lion's Eye as a response, or...
Yeah.
Or he has to do it after. Ad Nauseam all happens at once, right?
Yeah, with the Past in Flames in the deck, I mean, it's almost... It really shouldn't matter. He can do it either way.
Past in Flames will let him cast cards from his graveyard.
Yeah, so it almost doesn't matter.
All right, so there's Ad Nauseam. That is spell. I've lost count.
5, I believe.
5 or 6. So Ad Nauseam,
Lotus Petal, Dark Ritual, Lion's Eye Diamond, Ad Nauseam. So spell 5.
Now, what Ad Nauseam does is it lets him flip over the top card of his library and draw it. He pays life equal to the converted mana cost. Okay, so he is going to sack the Lion's Eye as a response. So can we hear what color? Black, I assume.
I mean, he hasn't even played a land for the turn, so he's... I mean, he's in great shape here.
Yes. All right, so this is rolls up his sleeves and starts reaching for the library.
It's basically like activating Dark Confident as many times as you want until you stop.
All right, Duress costs him 1 life. Petal is free. Petal is free. Brainstorm costs a life. Cabal Therapy costs him 1. That costs 1.
There's the
Past in Flames.
Which he can already play.
If he even needs to. All right, so the tutor can go get the Tendrils. All right, so he can stop whenever he wants. He basically gets to continue this process as many times as he likes, which should give him everything he needs to get the Storm count up to 10 and access the Tendrils. Petal, so he's got enough mana to cast the Tutor, but he does not yet have enough mana to cast the Tendrils after. It's not even clear he needs Past in Flames. Okay, now he's got to... Now he can...
See, this is why I don't... I mean, he can always Cabal Therapy himself to put anything he wants in his graveyard. I'm not sure that the LED there is working out in his favor, the way this hand worked out.
What? What does Past in Flames do that the rest of his hand doesn't do?
It so
it lets him cast the Tutor an additional
lets
time?
him cast everything. Just everything in his yard would have flashback. So he flashes it back out of his yard. I think he's like a ritual. I guess he's like a ritual away.
Yeah, it feels to me like he just needs mana. Like he needs to get to
like
7 mana. He needs +4 mana, and the 2 petals is +2. Yeah, any ritual does it.
Well, he needs to get his Tendrils, right?
He has the Tutor to get the Tendrils.
Well, he has a hand. He has to have no hand. I mean, he has to have no hand.
For the Tutor to work.
Right. That's why using the LED is an issue. Because
Fair.
now his Tutor's not live. So he's really on a Past in Flames. He needs another Lion's Eye Diamond. But he can Cabal Therapy himself, put it to his yard. He just needs a ritual. So he's got options, but the way this worked out is a little bit awkward, I feel.
Do we know how much life he's down to? And he's clearly thinking
it's
about whether
updated
to
to
keep drawing.
9. He had taken nothing before this started. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9,
15
10,
CMC
11,
there?
12, 13. Yeah. There you go.
Okay, there's a ritual. So now his issue is just accessing his Tendrils. He's got all the mana if he can access the Tendrils. The tricky part is that his Infernal Tutor doesn't access the Tendrils while he's got cards in his hand. And he sacked his Lion's Eye beforehand. He wanted to have mana floating so that he could potentially cast these spells, you know, Brainstorm, Ponder. You obviously see some blue spells there that are useful to cast.
I mean, I feel like he's probably okay. He can play Petal Petal. I'm not sure what color he has floating. I'm assuming it's blue.
It's blue.
Oh.
Well, the petals, I mean, 1 black.
Well, he hasn't played a land yet either, so he can play a land, he can fetch, get access to black. He's got 2 petals.
Yeah.
He gets Threshold.
No, he just needs to access the Tendrils.
Yeah, he gets Threshold. He can get his Past in Flames to his yard, and I think he has the mana to replay it. And then he's got access to Lion's Eye Diamond again, and 2 petals again, and 2 Dark Rituals again. And then he can just, now that he has no hand because he used his Lion's Eye Diamond, I'm pretty sure he just combos out from there, gets the Tendrils and wins.
Well, Past in Flames only gives instants and sorceries flashback. He doesn't get the Lion's Eye back.
Oh, okay. All right. You're right. So
yeah, no, that Lion's Eye can't come back.
So yeah, cracking the Lion's Eye then was definitely not correct.
He's dead.
Yeah, he cracked the Lion's Eye Diamond.
Cracking the Lion's Eye. Wow. Mark Taco ad nauseum and could not come up with the Lion's Eye he needed to discard his hand. He needs to draw either a Tendrils. If he'd drawn the Tendrils earlier, he would have been fine.
Right.
If he had a way to access the Tendrils, he would have been fine. But yeah, that decision to crack the Lion's Eye beforehand, it made sense to me at the time. I'll fully admit. It felt like, okay, having some mana floating is useful there. But if he draws Infernal Tutors
it's just
and
dead.
no Lion's Eye, then those tutors don't do what you want them to do.
Do you want to stay here?
Yeah, I think we can stay here and hang out for another game, right? They're still in game 1. On the other feature match table we have queued up is Osyp's. It's a Delver versus Delver mirror match. Osyp has the blue-red deck that Chris Pakula put together a couple weeks ago that Osyp's running, and his opponent is sort of a standard rug deck. Lightning Bolts, Nimble Mongoose. Osyp is on True Name Nemesis. Said he played that in the last round of the Swiss. He rode that card like a pony to sneak into this top 8 berth. So that's definitely... Is Osyp the only one with True Name Nemesis?
I believe
it's probably
so.
the single card we've talked about the most.
Yeah, I believe so. So sideboarding here should be interesting. Greg, and again, that 6 keep was, you know, pretty rough. It worked out for him, obviously, but he's
he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
He watched while his opponent committed suicide.
So he's got 2 Relic of Progenitus, 2 Witchbane Orbs, 2 Phyrexian Revokers. So he's got, I mean, as if the Chalice of the Voids and the Wastelands and the Trinispheres aren't enough. He's got Witchbane Orb, which shuts off Tendrils.
It sounds like Osyp's game's also going to game 2. Let's go watch a game of that. Let's make sure we get some more flavor. We'll keep an eye on this. Maybe if it goes to game 3, maybe we'll get back for game 3, but I'm going to try to get more matches on camera. All right, so this match is the 1 versus 8 game. So we've talked about Osyp, obviously former Pro Tour champion. I believe he was the only Pro Tour champion in the field. Snuck in as the 8th seed on tiebreakers after winning his last round. He's playing against Brad Jarman, who is basically the only undefeated player in the room.
Yes.
8 wins, draw in the last round, and thank you very much. Into the top 8 as the 1 seed, playing first for however long he lasts. Who won game 1? We'll find that out for you.
I think Brad lost. I believe he's on the right, and just
You're
looking at
the
I'm looking
scorecard?
at the scorecard.
Yeah, whoever's on the right looks like they lost. I agree. Most people put themselves on the left.
Yeah.
And their opponent on the right.
Yeah. So Osyp won.
It's Delver. Yeah, Brad is the Rug Delver deck, Nimble Mongoose, Lightning Bolt. Pretty straightforward list from what I saw.
Yep.
We've got these lists here. Osyp's is innovative in 2 ways. One being it's only 2 color, and the second color is red. Plus, trying him out. True name Nemesis. Yeah, Osyp did in fact win the first game of the quarter, so he's up a game. I wonder if those last 3, was that true name?
So Brad submerges our blanks here.
Sure.
Which is nice. He's got Rebs, he's got Spell Pierces. He has a Young Pyromancer in his board.
And you know what Osyp has in his board?
He's got Blood Moons if he chooses to bring them in.
3 copies of Blood Moon. This is what it's for, right? There's not a single basic land in the standard Rug Delver deck. Yeah, I gotta believe you bring Blood Moon in.
I would think so. I would think so.
It's just your opponent is dead if it resolves. I mean, it's kind of expensive for the matchup, but I mean, you're playing true names. You're willing to play 3-mana spells.
Yeah, that is true, though. You need to think about how many 3-mana spells do I really want to bring in. Not that 6 is a backbreaking number, but...
Yeah, I don't know. It's a fair question. What does he take out? I mean, his deck is pretty well set up for this. He's got main deck 2 Grim Lavamancers, which is pretty solid in the matchup. Young Pyromancer, solid in the matchup. I mean, it's an attrition-y match where Osyp's got Pyromancers to gain advantage. He's got True Names, which cannot be interacted with.
He has 4 Submerges.
Submerge.
For Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, it hits the Tarmogoyf. Doesn't hit anything else.
I mean, that's one of the problems with blue-red is you need to be able to stop Tarmogoyf. Your bolts and Lavamancers may not be able to do the job.
Sure.
So, you've got your... And it makes their on-the-stack plays so much harder as well. So now you're worrying about Stifle, you're worrying about Brainstorm, when do I fetch? Oh, and hey, my opponent at any time could submerge a creature onto the top of my library.
Oh, so, as a response to a fetch land, right?
Yeah.
Does he bring in 4?
Well, I don't know. I mean...
Seems like 4 is... I don't know that you want 4 answers to 4 cards.
I mean, I think Submerge is probably an upgrade to, say, Forked Bolt, because Brad doesn't... You're never going to kill 2 of Brad's creatures unless he runs out 2 Delvers before they flip. So
that's 1 card coming out of Osip's deck. You've also got these Blood Moons, which seem even better than Submerge to me.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've got Stifle that you need to think about. Is it worth having this card in my deck, post-board? Right. Sort of...
He's got 3 Spell Pierce, 3 Gitaxian Pro. Yep. It's like you can figure out how much of that he actually wants. Players are shuffling each other's decks now. All right. Yeah, Brad's sideboard doesn't seem like it has a ton. So I look at that for Submerge, by the way, some sideboard, and I know that I'm sure people were expecting some banned, right? I mean, there's a lot of, Reed Duke doing really well with a green-white creature deck.
Sure.
So I think people are maybe expecting I didn't see any of that all weekend, though.
No, we've yet to see a Submerge actually be played against anybody on camera today. That is an awkward hand on the left there. Looks like 2 Wastelands.
2 Wasteland, no colored mana? You can't keep that.
No.
It'd be great with any 1 land, but...
I'm guessing that one's going to go back.
Ponder.
I guess Brad's going to decide first. We'll see how he feels about his.
Kept it. Let's see it on the draw. Turn 1 Delver. Osyp draw. Volcanic Island off the top.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Osyp Lebedowicz, ladies and gentlemen.
That's funny.
All right, what's the line here?
So what does he have? Ponder, Forked
Bolt,
Lightning Bolt?
Yeah, he kept in the Forked Bolt. Yeah. Forked Bolt.
Just get in there, get you for 1, get
and
your
now
guy
he has
for 1.
days up as well. Like Wasteland is the other line that might have been worth considering there. But it seems like Forked Bolt and have days up.
Now does Brad have a Wasteland? don't think so.
Well, Gitaxian Probe that he's paying for
Paying for it.
Yeah, you daze that. Don't you? Trade a card for a card? I mean, it's easy for me to say this having seen Brad's hand, but it feels like he's digging for land.
Yeah.
Like he did not play a land. He opened himself up to a daze. He paid the mana. Yeah, I like this play.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
You trade daze for a card draw.
I mean, he has a fetch.
Oh, he does have the fetch. Okay.
I think maybe he's baiting the daze out there.
Apparently. Well, it was well played. If that was his goal, it worked. He deliberately opened himself up to daze. He was willing to trade daze for that card. It's still fine from Osip's perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with the play. It's just interesting whether he was sort of intentionally trying to get, maybe that mongoose into play, or whether it was.
Well, he could have just played a land and then played the mongoose, right? It's not like. I mean, he doesn't want to play around daze forever. Osyp draws the second daze and elects to ponder. So he's not on the wasteland plan. Oh, he still has a land drop. He could be on the wasteland plan. In fact, what is he? Brainstorm.
Another wasteland.
Interesting.
Now, Brad with already 3 cards in his graveyard.
It's true. Yeah, Mongoose is heading close to threshold. And since Osyp had daze, he has already played his land for the turn. So he's not going to get to wasteland now. I'm not going to get to wasteland this turn. I don't think third wasteland helps you that much here.
Yeah, Brad drawing a wasteland would be huge.
I think you're definitely right that Brad wanted Osyp to daze the Gitaxian Probe.
I think so. I think that's, if so, I mean, that's a great play.
Yeah, it was well played. I mean, the fact that he's paying mana for it. Yeah. Osyp reshuffles off the ponder. That makes sense. It didn't seem like those 3 were above average. So how does Osyp interact with Nimble Mongoose? A lot of people block with Tarmogoyf. That's not the plan here.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much...
block with True Name.
True Name deals with it, and then your tokens. Making tokens off Young Pyromancer.
Oh, wait, didn't Osyp... Isn't that 2 land drops?
I thought I thought
That's
so.
2 land drops. He dazed, picked up his island, his volcanic island.
I think you're right.
Yeah, he dazed, picked up the island, replayed the volcanic island. He just played 2 lands.
Do you want to...
Rashad? Yeah, Rashad is talking to the judge. Pretty sure he played 2 lands. He's talking to a judge. Yeah, both players missed it completely. There is a judge near the table who seems to have also missed it. I think we're relaying word over there, but that was Osyp's second turn. Right, turn 1 was top deck Volcanic, going second. Top deck Volcanic, play Volcanic, Forked Bolt on your turn, daze, pick up my Volcanic. Then he takes a long time resolving a Ponder. And then he plays Wasteland. Yeah, no, he played 2 lands. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't intentional. It's pretty easy to lose track of things between days and ponders, and so now what do they do? They're like 2 turns later in the game.
Yeah.
What's the ruling here?
It's going to be difficult to rewind.
Yeah, it seems borderline impossible to rewind. Right? Osyp dazed a Brainstorm since then. Yeah, okay. They've clearly stopped now, and the judges are talking about it. The room has gone much quieter. You guys probably can't hear that, but yeah, everybody's like, did that really just...
Yeah.
I know Rashad's trying to talk to the judge, listen to see if he can hear what's going on, but We don't have a microphone over there, so.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go. Oh, okay.
This is not.
Sure.
What? How does this ruling work? Do you know?
No, I'm not sure if they're going to be able to reconstruct
So
this.
if they can reconstruct and rewind to the point where the mistake happens, they'll try to?
I believe so.
But I mean, so that was on Osyp's turn. Then it was a brainstorm that got dazed.
Yeah, because I want to say you're right. I want to say
and then he's dazing back.
He dazed the.
Is this daze the brainstorm daze back?
Looks like they're trying to back it up.
They're going to try to back it up.
Yeah, Brad played probe. It was dazed.
Yeah, no, Osyp definitely
played the second land, played the second trop, right? Played the mongoose. Osyp replayed
yeah.
volcanic,
Osyp wasted.
pondered.
So
yeah.
What should happen, and then, yeah, I mean they've revealed the information about. Both players have played a daze since then, which is certainly, you can't actually reconstruct the game state because there's information that's public now that's not supposed to be public.
Right.
Yeah, Osyp's explaining exactly what happened. Yeah, he did this. I pondered, then I played a Wasteland. Then he drew a card, he untapped. He cast Brainstorm. I dazed it, picking up my Volcanic. He dazed back, picking up his one Tropical Island, which has not, in fact, actually been picked up. Brad has put that daze into his hand and put the Tropical back into play. I am curious to see what the ruling is here.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they're gonna address this.
I mean, is this not supposed to be a game loss? I mean, this feels like a game loss worthy mistake to me.
Because you can't actually fix it, I'm somewhat inclined to agree, but I don't think it works that way.
Yeah, I don't think that's the way the rulings are set up, though. I
No.
mean, nobody thinks it's intentional. If it's intentional, whatever, you kick him out of the tournament, right?
Right.
Send it to the
Yeah,
DCI.
no, I don't think
that's not
anybody
what's
thinks
going
that.
on here. I mean, they're certainly capable of reconstructing what the cards are. So, I mean, that's the way the penalty guidelines are set up these days, right?
Right.
If you can reconstruct it, you do. They had basically gotten to the next turn and cast 3 spells on the next turn. So what? So now the daze is still on the stack? I guess this is the point where... I don't know.
Yeah, I can't really tell.
So the head judge is being called in to try
Oh, they're not calling over the head judge.
to get this rewound.
Yeah, they're going to call over the head judge. It sounds like the table judge's intention is to try to rewind it, but I want to make sure the head judge is there and that everything is kosher. And then Osyp presumably picks up a warning. Becomes a pattern, then you can accumulate enough of those to get a more severe penalty. But I would be surprised if he has any track record of this at all. Yep, they're rewinding. Put the brainstorm back, so Brad should get a tropical out of his graveyard and back into play. Right?
Yes.
His draw phase goes back. They're rewinding it one spell at a time. Now the next thing that gets to get rewound is the Wasteland. Is Osyp conceding? Or do they just decide on a game loss? Osyp volunteered the concession? Yeah. Well, it sounds like Osyp is just going to volunteer a concession here. He knows it's his fault. He didn't want to, the rewind is awkward and complicated.
Yeah,
I think Osyp volunteered it there. I don't think the head judge was headed that way.
It certainly seemed like he did.
They were going to rewind it, and then it just conceded.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
no, Osyp felt like he messed it up. He felt like the honorable thing to do was just concede. Let's go to game 3.
Good for him. It looks like is that Blood Moon coming in?
It's probably better on the play.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're headed to game 3. These are best 2 out of 3 matchups. So now this game is 4 spot in the semis.
Wow. Osyp seemed to win the first game on the play pretty quickly, so we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see what happens in this one.
Jitte's the card coming out for the Blood Moon.
Yeah, so he's...
Now, second Blood Moon coming in. Yeah, it looks like he thinks Blood Moon is correct on the play,
Yeah, it makes sense to
but
me.
not the draw. His Force of Wills are out. I like that, actually.
Yeah, that's pretty...
I don't like Force of Will in this matchup.
It's very
really
common in
not
this
good.
matchup. Yeah, they yank them all out. It's your...
I mean, it's an attrition-y matchup. You're trading card for card. Like, if you 2-for-1 yourself to stop anyone, like,
It's just
no
not worth
one
it.
thing that they do is worth
is
2-for-1
that much better
yourself.
than anything else, right?
Right. Yeah, you see a lot of these lists that actually are like 3 Force of Will main,
Yeah.
1 in the sideboard. I've seen some people who've started just saying, you know what? All 4 forces are in the sideboard. I want
Yeah.
them against combo. Like, you got to have access to Force of Will. If you're playing blue decks, you want Force of Will because there's matchups where it's amazing, and there's matchups where it's required.
Right.
But not the Delver match.
There
the Delver
are-
match, it's just actively bad.
I mean, that's part of the argument people make for playing combo decks right now is that
The Force of Wills are
yeah,
sliding
you're
into the
getting
sideboards.
people cheating. I mean, that was like sacrilegious in the very recent past, but
Right,
that's
right.
kind of become a more accepted thing to do. You know, I'm just going to run 3 main.
I think it's
I'm gonna cheat
correct.
1 into my board.
I mean, until combo becomes a huge chunk of the metagame, it just seems correct. Like, if the metagame is going to stay, Delver is the top deck. I don't know if we got an actual metagame breakdown, but Delver and Sneak and Show it had to be 1-2 in some order.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if you lump the Delvers together, there's more of that than there was Sneak and Show.
Most likely.
Or even Show until
Yeah,
Delver.
I think that's definitely right. From what we heard earlier about the metagame, I think that's for sure correct.
So then you shave one Force of Wills,
yeah.
and the coast is slightly clearer for combo.
It's also how you end up with Mud in the top 8, though, because, turn 1 Chalice of the Void on 1 does some pretty savage things.
There's no combo in this. Well, there's one combo deck, the Storm
Yeah,
deck.
so we saw Tacos, and they're facing off. But,
Yeah.
when you're a deck that can play turn 1 Chalice of the Void against either of these decks, I mean, Chalice on 1
Yes.
shuts off, 24 cards? I mean, it's just...
It's true, yeah. There's 4 Ancient Tomb, 4 City of Traders in that Mud deck that can play turn 1 Chalice for 1.
I mean, Osyp has 4, 6, 10, 14, 18, 19, 22... He has 28 1-drops. So a Chalice for 1 that resolves
Yeah.
shuts
That's
off
why-
half his deck.
I think that's why we saw so much countertop, too.
Yeah.
Like, the combo always counters 1 mana
Yes.
spells.
Yes. Again, same thing. You set that up, half your deck just turned off.
Right. So this top 8, 3 Delver decks, 2 Death and Taxes, a countertop, a Mud, and a Storm. Definitely a top 8 full of people that just want to stop you from doing your thing. Stifle that, wasteland that, no pay extra.
Mud is
Pay
like
more extra.
Mud is the ultimate. I enjoy playing.
these are griefer decks.
What I like about playing Magic is when you can't do anything.
Right,
That's
right.
what that deck says.
Definitely, Mud is the grieferiest, but there's still there's a lot of griefer in the Death and Taxes deck, too.
So he's got the Submerge.
All right, Osyp looking at
Bolt.
his 7, 1 land.
Yeah, he's on the play. Looks like he has
Is that a Stifle?
Stifle.
Probe? Bolt.
Yeah, he's got a Ponder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Basic Island.
So again, big difference between these decks. That blue-red deck with those basic lands, and not only immune to Blood Moon, able to use it proactively, and helps combat the wastelands from the
Yeah, that play is all about not wanting to get his only land wastelanded.
Yeah.
Now, he does not have access to red mana. I mean, he's got a lightning bolt in his hand. He's not going to be able to cast, but most of his hand is blue.
Yeah, with all the cantrips in the deck,
Yeah, he'll find it,
he'll get there.
and he wants to make sure he gets to. Okay, he's going to lead with the
Turn 1
Delver.
Delver.
Wants to make sure he gets to Ponder next turn. All right, Delver's in play. What does Brad have? I see a Volcanic.
He's got a Mongoose.
He's going to use it.
Oh, he's got
It's
a
hard
Ponder.
to. You can't really play Mongoose off Volcanic.
Oh yes.
Ponder, though. Ponder's just fine. Osyp's going to bluff Daze by thinking about this. I don't think he actually has one, but... Cannot see what 3 cards Brad has. He's ordering them.
Remember when this deck played Werebears?
I
There
do
was
too.
no
It's a
Tarmogoyf.
while ago. Tarmogoyf slight upgrade when
Yeah,
it got printed,
yeah.
right? Delver? Yes.
There it is.
Daze.
He's not quite as effective when they know it's there, but
It's still relevant.
still irritating.
Yes,
But now he
definitely.
does not have another land.
Okay, he's going to Ponder.
He's going to hopefully find it off of this, but
That's the plan. Brad decides not to daze it. He does have a daze. It would have gotten dazed back, I'm sure.
was there a Volcanic there?
I saw Red Blast.
I think there's a volcanic.
Yes.
volcanic
Yeah,
red days.
that is not getting reshuffled.
No.
No, that is awesome. Volcanic, Red Blast, and what was the third card?
Days.
Days, yeah, that's fine. That's awesome. Put the Volcanic on top, draw it, play it.
Yeah, I would think so.
Then you've got Stifle up, Lightning Bolt up.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be the play.
There it is.
Attack for 3.
Get in there with my insect.
And here's Volcanic Island.
And pass it back. Yep.
All right. Brad untaps. Draws a Ponder.
He has a Fire Ice in his hand, I think.
I haven't gotten a good look at it.
I think he's got a Fire Ice.
I haven't actually seen a land, but there's several cards I can't see. I think I see Wasteland.
Yep.
Stifle.
You are correct. Here comes
the Stifle. Whack. 1 mana? No. I like my Volcanic. How about you're down a land and I'm not? How does that sound? They got to fight a Days fight over this, right?
There's going to be some kind of fight for sure.
All right,
so he's
float a
floating.
mana and Daze, which stops Osyp from dazing back. Pay? Oh, he defends the Volcanic, of course.
Yeah.
Right. So Osyp dazed back. Brad had the land to pay, but Osyp picked up the Volcanic Island.
It's a counter spell.
He effectively countered it anyway. Yeah, you paid. Oh, Osip's trying to tell him, didn't you pay? No, I did not pay. No need to counter that Stifle if you're going to pick up Volcanic Island, which means Brad had the blue mana left over to ponder with.
So does he not have any green mana?
I haven't seen.
Looked like he had a Tarmogoyf. He definitely has a Fire Ice.
Yeah, I think he's pinched on green.
He's
got the
shuffling
Mongoose,
here, so
Tarmogoyf.
You have to assume.
And he's already played his land for the turn too, so he's going to be passing with no permanence. Don't play a second land, please. Please don't play a land. Not again. Alright, here's the draw from Ponder. Alright, ships the turn.
So here comes the Delver.
That Daze is pretty good now.
Yeah.
Like, Brad knew about one, but he's plowed through that one.
It's like a Spell Pierce.
Or a Stifle. Yeah, Osip's on. Okay, Volcanic comes down and ship the turn. Osyp untaps. 3 more.
Wow.
Down to 11.
Yeah, his hand's looking pretty good.
He's basically defending that one Delver, but it seems like he's got enough that he ought to be able to. Brad does draw. Okay, here's Fetch Land. Does Osyp have a Stifle?
No, not this time. I think he has Vendilion Click, Daze, Submerge, Lightning Bolt, and Reb.
Here's Tropical. So green mana finally comes down for Brad.
And I want to say Brad has a Tarmogoyf and a Mongoose, so we'll see what he likes to do here. He also has Fire Ice to kill the Delver when he wants to. But, so there's the Mongoose. So.
There's the one that does not get dazed. Can he? I don't know if he can afford to play around Daze. He doesn't have all day. The Delver's at, what, 3 1/3 turn clock right now?
Yeah, and now...
Alright, plays Mongoose and chips the turn. Not willing to get anything, walk anything into a Daze.
Is that another Delver he drew?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's gonna get there through the friendly skies, or not so friendly in this case.
Right. Mongoose is currently a 1/1, so a pair of 1/1s with aspirations staring at each other across the battlefield.
Is that another green creature? It has a land. So
Well, that's what Brad wanted, for sure. Mongoose's Shroud ability doing good work against Osyp Submerge. A more targetable creature would die to that fetch land activation.
And I mean the real issue here is, so he's going to 6 here. I mean, he's potentially staring down lethal. Tarmogoyf does nothing to stem the bleeding that he's taking from these insect mutants right now.
True. So
And
what,
Osyp has a bolt in his hand too, with a
no,
red to back it up. So
I don't see the line that gets Brad out of this. It's not like he can afford to never crack that fetch. I mean, I think he has to try to do stuff. Fire Ice is probably his plan. Yep.
Yep.
Fires the flying insect. Got a mana left to pay for days. So Osyp, he can't counter this? He has a Reb, which doesn't counter it because it's a red spell.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a Daze, which doesn't counter it because there's a mana left to pay.
I don't know that. I mean,
he's got a Lightning Bolt. Yeah.
If his Delver flips, I don't know that he cares.
Right. Attack. Block. It blocks. Please block. No, not interested in blocking. What I'm interested in is flipping Delver. There it is. Fork Bolt. All right, that should do it. Although, I mean, Osyp might slow play the Lightning Bolt.
Yeah, well...
I mean, with Days back up, it seems like you just bolt.
Yeah. I would probably just try to end this right here. Yeah. Do it. Burn him.
I mean, what combination of stuff is Brad going to have to survive that?
Nothing. I can't think of anything.
I mean, Force of Will? Okay.
And he just dies to Force Bolt next turn.
Right. Yeah, Osyp's just trying to figure out if there's a safer line. Yeah, he just says go. It's gonna make Brad prove that he can answer this flying 3/2, or it doesn't matter. Ponder? Can I go look for more cards? Sure, go look for more cards.
Looks like a bunch of counter spells.
Spell Pierce is the thing that can stop that Lightning Bolt. That's what Osyp's playing around. I mean, the Pierce would have gotten dazed though, so it has to be Pierce followed by Daze. Still, Osyp's not surrendering much.
No. Yeah, I mean, he's not really obligated to act, considering he has the win on board anyway.
He's like, you're dead next turn. And I think he just drew Spell Pierce off that Ponder.
Yeah.
We are up to threshold, so take 3. Is Brad just his total bluff, or did Brad draw something relevant?
Looks like he gets to find out now because he's going to drew a pro for the turn.
I'll pay 2 to find out if you're bluffing. I'll Tarmogoyf that. Sorry, I can daze that.
Wow.
Yep. Wow,
yeah.
there it is.
Life from the loam.
Osyp Lebedowicz through to the semis. Felt like it was his fault that the second game got into such an awkward state because he accidentally played 2 lands on the same turn. Conceded that game rather than sort of put everybody through the hassle of trying to unwind back to the point where he made that mistake. And then won it in game 3.
Yeah, kudos to him for that.
Yeah, I agree. 100% agree. All right, meanwhile, back on the other feature match table, this is game 3 now. So Mud came back. Well, so Tendrils committed suicide in game 1 accidentally. That's how Mud won its game. But then the Tendrils deck has apparently won game 2. Now here we are in game 3. Metalworker revealing 2 artifacts. That gets me a Lodestone Golem. The Lodestone Golem doesn't seem like good news for a Storm Tendrils deck.
No, I'm not sure what Revoker's on, although if I had to guess, it's probably Lion's Eye Diamond.
Wow.
This just seems miserable for the
and he won
Storm
game
deck.
2. It all comes down to that the Lion's Eye Diamond that he cracked. Right, that looks like that's going to cost him the semi.
You know, to be fair, when you're at that point with 3 mana floating, have not played a land yet, and you have not taken damage yet, you're probably what 90, 95 to win from that board
90
state,
something, yeah.
no matter what you do with your Lion's Eye Diamond.
Right.
So, you know, he could have stopped and tried to win off some of those. I believe he had some cantrips up
he had
there.
a couple. He had Brainstorm.
Yeah, he could have tried.
Type cards.
Just, you know, why did he pay 1?
Because there's Lodestone Golem in play.
Doesn't affect artifacts.
No idea. You are correct. It feels like it affects everything.
Yeah.
You're right, though. It does not affect artifacts. He didn't actually need to pay for that.
I mean, I don't know that he had anything else to do, but I don't know how he wins this game.
No. Revoker on Lion's Eye anyway.
Paid 1 extra for a card that can't do anything. And I mean, to be honest, this is really the knock I have on Ad Nauseam Tendrils and Epic Storm is even some of these pilots are fantastic. You know, Cook and Taco, these guys are very good.
Yep.
They top 8 with the deck quite a bit, but it has struggled mightily to win that much.
Doesn't look like it's going to win this one.
No. He does not have to pay for that. That is a 0 cost card. I mean, he's dead. He's going to get attacked and be dead, but...
Wow. The mud deck.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty typical for what I would normally expect
There's
to see
the handshake. So, Ad Nauseam Tendrils goes down. Judgment Call didn't work out in game 1, and the mud strategy did not work out for him in game 3. So